Welcome to another episode of China Update, where I provide you guys with the most up-to-date political, economic and geostrategic analysis on the world's number 2 economy. My name is Tony. Let's jump in.
Happy Saturday, everybody. I hope you're enjoying a restful weekend. It is the weekend, of course, so today's episode will be very foreign policy focused. And first up, we look at Russo-Chinese relations. During the recent Russian strikes on Odessa, part of the PRC consulate there experienced some minor damage, broken windows, etc. The PRC Foreign Ministry was quick to play down the situation, but no doubt some in Beijing will not be pleased with it. A PRC Foreign Ministry spokesperson expressed on Thursday, quote, "An explosion happened near China's Consulate General in Odessa. The blast wave shook off parts of the wall surface and window panes. Consulate staff had long left the premises and no one was hurt. China is closely following the developments and staying in touch with the parties concerned. We will take all measures necessary to keep Chinese institutions and nationals safe in Ukraine." End quote. The same day, Ukraine's Zelensky announced that, quote, "The ports that were attacked today store about 1 million tons of food. It was to be delivered to countries in Africa and Asia long ago. In the port terminal, which suffered the most from Russian terror this night, 60,000 tons of agricultural products were stored, which were intended for shipment to China." End quote. Chinese officials and state media have also played this down, with the same Chinese spokesman expressing, quote, "We hope that parties concerned will properly resolve international food security issues through dialogue and consultation." End quote. As regular viewers know, Beijing has maintained a very close relationship with Moscow during the war, while also trying to give the appearance of neutrality, a position which has exacerbated a rift in EU-China relations. Meanwhile, also on Thursday, Ukraine's Deputy Economy Minister held talks with China's Vice Commerce Minister in Beijing in the first high-level visit by a Ukrainian government official to the country since 2019. Despite all these developments, however, there are no signs of significant deterioration in the Russo-Chinese partnership. Indeed, the relationship continues to appear robust. The two countries are currently in the middle of 4 days of joint military drills, quote, "to contribute to the safeguarding of peace and stability in the Asia-Pacific amid tensions and potential risks in the region," end quote, in the words of state media. We remember at the recent Asian Foreign Ministers Conference, Wang Yi and his Russian counterpart committed to securing peace and stability in Southeast Asia and to keep external powers from interfering in the region. This is, of course, despite the fact that Russia itself is an external force. On Thursday, an opening ceremony for the military exercises was held in the central waters of the Sea of Japan, immediately followed by live fire drills. Next up, in a highly unusual public claim by a high-profile Chinese academic, Professor of Economics at China's prestigious Peking University, Zhang Dandan, writing in the highly regarded Chinese financial media outlet Caixin, has claimed that China's youth jobless rate might have hit close to 50% in March. Specifically, Zhang argues the rate may have reached as high as 46.5%. The research behind these claims in the article focused on the manufacturing hubs in eastern China's Jiangsu province, observing, quote, "Employment there only recovered to 2/3 of pre-COVID levels until March, when COVID faded," end quote. The article caused a storm online in a country already discussing the issue of youth unemployment, sparking, among other things, a renewed debate about the veracity of official data on the labour market specifically and the economy generally, including questioning whether the primary role of the National Bureau of Statistics is to provide robust data on the economy or to simply manage public opinion. Officially, the National Bureau of Statistics said that March's jobless rate for people aged between 16 and 24 was 19.7%, less than half of what Professor Zhang estimated, but still, officially, historically high levels. Regular viewers know that youth unemployment has become a serious policy challenge for Beijing, with warnings of possible social and political fallout if not mitigated soon. It is difficult to know how accurate Professor Zhang's research is, and some online commentators have criticized it for flawed methodology, for example by counting people in the jobless figures who are not actively seeking work. And of course it is hard to get any robust, reliable numbers on sensitive areas like employment. Zhang is the Associate Professor of Economics at Peking University's National School of Development. The article was published on Monday, but has since been removed. Next up, UK-China relations. Hey everyone, if you enjoyed today's weekend episode of China Update, don't forget to hit that like button. It's a big help for the channel. It is also a massive help if you can share this with someone who you think would be interested in this sort of content. This is the best way to help the channel grow. And for anyone who can go the extra mile and help me keep the channel financially sustainable, Patreon and Buy Me a Coffee links are in the description below. As always, thank you so much everybody for the ongoing support. Finally, for today, we look at UK-China. This week, Richard Moore, the chief of the UK's Secret Intelligence Service, also known as MI6, gave a rare public appearance in Prague, Czech Republic, at an event hosted by US media outlet Politico. In comments he made at the event, China was front and center. Moore's position on China and Ukraine is unequivocal, expressing, quote, "When Putin invaded Ukraine, the Chinese very clearly supported the Russians. They have completely supported the Russians diplomatically. They have abstained in key votes at the United Nations. They have absolutely cynically repeated all the Russian tropes, particularly in places like Africa and Latin America, blaming NATO and all of this stuff," end quote, adding that Xi Jinping is, quote, "absolutely complicit in the invasion," end quote. Moore, who is obviously very much speaking to a European audience with this event, also blamed China for enabling the actions of Myanmar's military junta. Regarding MI6 operations, Moore expressed, quote, "We now devote more resources to China than anywhere else. The resources and size of the Chinese intelligence agency effort is huge, and they deploy overseas in large numbers," end quote. However, he also echoed the sentiment of the British Foreign Secretary from back in April that while Britain will robustly defend its national security and values, it will at the same time, quote, "absolutely engage with China for the simple reason that not a single international problem of any importance can be addressed if we do not," end quote. But he also warned, quote, "Authoritarian regimes try to hide their intentions in contested spaces with a blizzard of propaganda and disinformation," end quote. As part of the Five Eyes intelligence community, i.e. UK, US, Australia, Canada and New Zealand, the comments may have been coordinated to be made soon after CIA Director Bill Burns' op-ed earlier this month, which also warned about China as an intelligence and security threat. In the Washington Post op-ed, Burns expressed, quote, "If Putin's war in Ukraine is the most immediate challenge in strategic competition, China is our biggest geopolitical and intelligence rival, the most significant long-term priority. We've been organizing ourselves at the CIA over the past couple of years to reflect that priority. We've set up a new mission center, one of the dozen or so organizational building blocks of the agency focused exclusively on China. It is the only single country mission center we have at the CIA, and it provides a central mechanism for coordinating work on the China mission, which extends today to every part of the agency," end quote. Now, while we're on UK-China, one last thing. Several media outlets are reporting that the UK Foreign Secretary has postponed a planned trip to Beijing this month due to Chinese Foreign Minister Qin Gang's near 1 month-long absence from public view, further fueling speculation about what has happened to the senior official and signaling that the situation is starting to directly affect Beijing's diplomacy and geopolitical considerations. The UK Foreign Office has so far declined to comment on the stories. No senior UK official has visited China since Xi started his third term last October, while the Germans and the French have both sent top leaders to the Middle Kingdom. Qin Gang, who was promoted early by Xi Jinping himself into the role of foreign minister ahead of more senior officials, has not been seen in public since the 25th of June. Okay, that is today's episode of China Update. Thank you so much everybody for watching. Have a wonderful Saturday, have a great weekend, and I will see you all on Monday.